Welcome, welcome. In this video, I'm going to do a demo to show you what happens if you have a publicly facing server, especially a email server, and that server is running services that are vulnerable. So I had an opportunity uh, several months ago to run a test against a system in Africa, and I found some services that were running on a router and that were vulnerable. So what I did was I contacted the owners of the systems, and they were very happy, and they said that the engineers uh, was going to get on it ASAP. So that's the kind of thing you want to do to assist the community to be safe. So in this demo, I'm going to look at, I have a mail server running locally, and I'm going to scan that server to determine what services. I'm going to scan the mail server port 25 to see what kind of service is running on that port. And then from there, I'm going to do some research on that service, and if that service is vulnerable, I'm going to try to get into that local server. So I'm going to start, and this is for educational purposes, and for those instructors that are teaching penetration testing, they can use this lab to help students understand how to go about testing systems. So I'm going to be running, I have two systems. I have the Kali Linux machine, and then I have the local server. I hope you can see the local server, but if I look at the server, this is the local server. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my Kali machine because that's where I'm going to be working from. Okay, so the first thing I want to do a recon on that server. So to do a recon, I will use a tool called Nmap, and I will use a version scan on port 25, which is that the port I'm interested in, and the IP address of the local mail server. When I run the search, I found out that is running XM SMPD 4.6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a script, set a script against the server to see whether it is vulnerable. So I'm going to run nmap again, and this time nmap has a lot of scripts that will target SMTP server. So if I move that, you will see that SMTP, the port, and when I press the enter key, you'll see that it shows that it have two major vulnerabilities in it. Okay, after I've discovered that, I'm going to go to MSF console, and I will run MSF console. Okay, once MSF console starts, I'm going to go in and search for XM. Okay, now search for XM. I will see that for XM 4 here, and it is excellent. So I'm going to use this exploit. So I'm going to say use 4, and that exploit is going to be available. right? So the next thing I want to do is I want to look at the payload, right? I want to set the payloads for this server. So it's going to be a Linux, a per payload. So I have the per payload. I'm just going to snag that, and I'm going to copy it and paste it into the command line. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say set payload, and I'm going to grab that and paste that in there. Okay, and press the enter key. So that's my payload. Now I want to show the options to see what the exploit wants from me. So it wants the local client and the local port. So it wants the remote, which is the server, the mail server, and they want the local machine. So I'm going to set the local machine lhost. And I know my Ethernet adapter, so I could put the IP address on my local machine, but since I know my Ethernet adapter, I'll replace it with that. So then I want to set my local port. So I'm going to be using port 443 because if I have a firewall, it's expecting traffic through the firewall, and it will probably let it go. So I set that. And the next thing I want to do, I want to set the remote host. And once I set the remote host, is that of the mail server. So it's 192.168.56.108. 109. And when I press the key, when I press the enter key, I will see that it has been set. To verify all the changes, I do show options, and you'll see that in there. And all I have to do now is run exploit, and in a short period of time, you'll see that it's creating a privilege escalation, and you will see that command shell has opened. If I do a pwd, you will see that I'm in. If I do who am I, you will see that I'm root. Now if I want to spin the shell so that it will look something similar like a bash shell, I'll do a Python python, a Python C, and import and pty. So I just want the shell to look cleaner, and I'm going to spawn, and then I'm going to do a bin and a batch, and I'll press the enter key, and I should get a shell in there. Okay. See what I'm doing in here. I'm just gonna grab the whole thing here. I left something out. Okay, this is what I left out, and I'm gonna put that in there. I left quotation somewhere, so I'm gonna type that again. Python C import pty So it's a space in here. pty spawn, and it's bin batch, and I gotta close the quotation here. Press the enter key. You see that I'm getting something wrong. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm not typing that something is missing in there. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna paste that. I got the code in there. I'm just gonna paste it and press the enter key, and you'll see that I got the root prompt. So if I clear the screen, you see that it's not set in there, so that's fine. But I have access to the entire system. So if you see who am I, I'm root. I can do a ls stack L. Anywhere I want to go in the system, I can go there. I can cap and check the password file, and I can see everything in the system. So I can see all the user on the system, and there are a lot of possibilities now that the root. But this lab is more so to let administrator know that if you should periodically check your systems, scan your networks. If you find services that have vulnerability, you want to check them out. Okay, so you can also go to a place like so I'm gonna go in here. See what we can see that in there. I'm currently now on the internet, but you can go to a site like MITRE.org and look for. Let me see what I can put this on the internet. Let me put this on the internet. I'm gonna go in here and change the network to not network on my virtual machine. I'm gonna wait for it to get back on. Press that, and I should be there. So you can always come here and search the list to find. If I type exim in here and click submit, you'll see a lot of vulnerabilities in there. You got 4.9.7. So administrators should always try to check these sites to look for services they're running on the network to see what the latest. Okay, there are some automated means they have where system administrators can see those things on a daily basis. So let me Google what is the current exim version. And you see the latest version is 4.9. So if I was a system admin and I ran a test and I found that the service that I was running was 4.6.8, I'll be updating to 4.98. So thanks for watching, and this has been a video on looking at your system by scanning it and finding services that may be vulnerable and mitigating them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.